When it looked like Marina Mabrey has broken her silence finally about shoving Caitlin Clark.
I feel like you're trying to fast because now they're talking about investigations and now you're terrified. Now you're scared. Now you're shook.
Caitlin Clark takes an elbow, an eye poke, and then a full-on shove to the floor. Yet Marina Mabrey stayed in the game with only a technical. Hours later, the league quietly upgrades her foul to a flagrant 2. Now Mabrey is speaking out, and the timing raises eyebrows, especially with a Wall Street Journal piece fueling debate over whether Clark is being treated unfairly in the league. Could this be about more than just one dirty play? Why is Mabrey choosing this moment to break her silence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's go.
See Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Most people saw the shove. That's the clip that blew up online. But what led to it actually started minutes earlier in the June 17th game, when Jacius Sheldon's hand raked across Caitlin Clark's face in the middle of a scramble for the ball. Clark wasn't out of position or making a reckless move. She was fighting for possession exactly where you'd expect when Sheldon's fingers caught her eye.
Hey,
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it. Look at Mabrey. She's got a scar on one side, a scratch on one side of her face, a scratch on the other side. It's not from the game today. I asked her about it. She's always in the mix. There's a lot of contact here. There's a scrape across the face. That's what Clark didn't like.
The first sound from the crowd wasn't outrage. It was that sharp mix of gasps and low groans you hear when something might be serious. Officials were right on top of the play, and crew chief Ashley Gloss later explained their in-the-moment judgment before the sequence was reviewed. On replay, Sheldon's foul was upgraded to a flagrant 1, but that ruling came after the fact. In real time, the game rolled on. That sent an immediate message. The foul wasn't severe enough to stop play, at least in the officials' eyes, even as courtside fans leaned forward, murmuring about what they'd just seen. Frame by frame, the broadcast told the story. Clark's head jerks slightly from the contact. She takes a step back, then straightens without theatrics. No rolling around, no exaggerated reaction. Just that steady, locked-in stare she gets when she's refocusing. That composure is part of her appeal. She left it to the referees to handle, or at least trusted they would. The problem is, in that moment, they didn't.
Take another look as we try to figure out what exactly went down. So you see her get hit in the face. Jacius Sheldon doesn't like that, and everybody on the team doesn't like it. Marina, trying to have her teammates back, pushes her down. You see a little bit of drama all the way around. Tina, Charles, Clark, and Mabrey, they received technical fouls. Sheldon received a flagrant 1 foul.
When a player of Clark's profile doesn't get that instant protection, the game's temperature changes fast. That unspoken next one's going to be harder energy starts to creep in. You see it in every sport. When officials miss or delay addressing a dangerous foul, someone on the floor eventually takes matters into their own hands. By the time Sheldon's flagrant 1 was officially on the books, the real damage wasn't in the score. It was in how both benches now understood the physical limits were looser than usual. Fever players kept glancing at the officials after whistles, and every possession carried an extra edge. The eye poke was still fresh in everyone's mind, and the next big collision felt inevitable. And sure enough, it came. The shove that flooded timelines didn't come out of nowhere. It was the boiling point after minutes of simmering tension the early non-whistle had allowed to build. So why, with that flagrant already recorded, did things still spiral? And why did Marina Mabrey decide she had to step in? Her answer came quickly and hasn't changed. She was protecting her teammate. But slow the tape down, and that claim doesn't quite fit the sequence. After the eye poke, Clark gave Sheldon a brief shove during a dead ball, more a frustrated knock it off than anything intended to do real damage. Sheldon barely shifted, standing upright and steady, in no danger of falling or being hit again. Within seconds, Mabrey closed in, not to stand between them or pull her teammate away, but to lower her shoulder and deliver a full-body shove that sent Clark crashing to the hardwood.
And then Marina Mabrey comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. Now let's watch this in slow motion. Here, JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her, like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
This wasn't mid-possession contact or a scramble for a loose ball. It came after the initial bump, in that dead ball window where cooler heads usually step in. That context matters, because it makes the shove look less like a split-second act of protection and more like a deliberate choice to escalate. Clark wasn't flopping. She paused, blinked a few times, got back up, and kept playing. She didn't deserve that.
Whistles blew.
Now after this, you guys, of course, the referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play, right? So the 3 referees that I like to say, they got them straight out of Sephora because I don't think these referees have ever refereed a professional basketball game in their life. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over.
Overreacted a little bit. That's her direct quote. But the replay tells a different story. Feet planted, body leaning in, and a drive that sends Clark to the floor. A little bit doesn't square with hitting someone hard enough that their legs buckle beneath them.
The announcers here are saying, of course, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on JC Sheldon because she swiped her and hit her in the eyeball. Whether it is intentional or not, you can still have a flagrant a flagrant foul called on you, whether you are trying to intentionally hurt somebody or not. But this is what they called, you guys. This is what they called.
And in her follow-up posture, it's clear Mabrey wasn't just drifting through incidental space. Chin up, chest forward, a deliberate glance at Clark as if to confirm the shove landed. That's not definitive proof of intent, but it raises real questions about the so-called protection narrative. Fans caught it instantly, with even neutral viewers calling it avoidable contact that crossed the line. Adding to the skepticism is the sheer disparity in force. Clark's shove to Sheldon barely made her budge. Mabrey's counter flattened Clark. That's not what people expect if the goal is a proportional response in a heated moment. And it's why so much of the public reaction rejects the idea that this was just an instinctive.
This not only incited several technical fouls, but it prompted Fever enforcer Sophie Cunningham to essentially start a brawl by grabbing and throwing Sheldon down to the ground 1 quarter later. Mabrey gets honest. 2 days after the shove, heard around the women's basketball world, Mabrey was heard saying, quote, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't," when addressing a commentator on the Instagram live stream who called her out for shoving Clark.
Sure, adrenaline can make athletes react quickly, but adrenaline also doesn't give you time to